Hello everyone, this is icyabyss here and today we are talking about change. What change? Well, about people. Can people change? Who is changing? Well, me. And what's changing about me? My political opinions. And chances are if you've clicked on this video, you either clicked out of two reasons. You either saw the thumbnail and saw Critical Drinker's face on it, or you saw the Birdman's. Well, I am definitely going to talk about those people because they are definitely relevant for this video, so stick around for that. But for now, let's talk about politics because nothing is non-political, even the movies. So yeah, because everything is political, let's talk about politics and get it out of the way. I have never considered myself a political person, and I've never identified myself with any political ideology. I think that if you join a political ideology, you give up your free will. And it sounds very extreme, but I think that it's true that joining a political ideology is kind of the same as joining a cult. So whenever you join a cult, you give up your free will, and I think the same thing happens when you identify yourself as a conservative or a liberal. You are literally giving up your free will because whenever something happens in the world, something, political or apolitical, you don't think about what you think about that particular thing as an individual. You don't think that. You think what your ideology thinks about it. So you immediately grab your phone, you scroll through Twitter, and you see your people in your circle, in your echo chamber, and you hear those people, and then you're like, okay, so that's how I should feel about this thing. And well, that's what happens. And even though I've said that I've never really tried to identify myself as a political person or part of a political ideology, if you watched my videos like from 2 years ago or maybe a couple of months old, you would see that I follow a conservative pattern of reviewing movies. And that's not because I at some point was identifying myself as a conservative. I've actively tried myself from not identifying myself as a conservative or a liberal. I've always prided myself on seeking out the truth, becoming a rationalist, realist person. But I've seen that I may have been wrong about that because I existed in an echo chamber and I didn't even know about it. The reason for that being that from my teen years, I was following these movie reviewing channels and I never knew they were political. I mean, I obviously, got the gist that they were maybe, political or conservative people, but I thought that when they reviewed movies, they were being apolitical. Politics weren't involved in their reviews. So I thought, okay, this is a movie review. This is how, normal American people feel about these things. Not true, apparently. And you might think that, okay, so why don't you follow these people on Twitter? I don't use Twitter. I made an account a year ago and didn't bother using it. I tried, I've tried to force myself to use it. I didn't get used to it. So yeah, I've been trying to force myself recently to use Twitter more and more. And the more I use Twitter, the more I, try and follow these guys, these movie reviewers. Let's say Critical Drinker, but maybe not him in particular, but the people in his circle. And I've noticed that they are very, transparent on Twitter. Let's just say that their politics on their channel seem very subdued. And I want to mention, I wasn't going to mention, but I should mention Dr. Sydney Watson. If you watch her channel, you think that you're watching a very apolitical channel. It feels like you're watching a very grounded and, very balanced videos from a content creator that clearly cares about balance and truth. But when you follow her on Twitter, it is racism and Islamophobia over and over again. And that example is is a very extreme one, because I saw her tweet and she retweeted something. It was a news article, and there was an article that was saying that a white man, murders black person. That was the headline. It was along those lines. I don't remember it. It's been a while. So it was that article. And then she retweets it saying that there's something wrong in this article. And I was like, okay, so what's wrong? And then she says that the W in white is small, but the B in black is bigger. And I was astounded, like, what the hell are you talking about? Do you not see the article? It's saying a white man murders a black person, and the woman is talking that the freaking W in white is small and the B in black is big, and that's how the white people are being oppressed. Like, dude, literally a white guy, you can see what the article is about, what the headline is saying, but no, you're more worried about grammar and feeling oppressed. So yeah, the more you follow these guys on Twitter, the more you will see how transparent they are in their politics. They don't tend to show that side more often to their YouTube channels. And when it comes to Dr. Sydney Watson, the only reason why I decided to mention is because she's the only person where I've seen the extreme side of it, where her channel kind of feels somewhat balanced. I know it's conservative, she identifies as conservatives, but it does feels like that she's maybe a center of the right. But on her Twitter, she's like pro-racist, I have no idea. I should have been following these people and double checking their backgrounds. And I'm sorry about if this video feels very long, because it's unscripted. I am basically ranting over here, so sorry about that. Let's talk about Critical Drinker, because I obviously started watching his channel because I may have watched his earlier couple of videos and he may have reviewed movies, bashing them, the kind of movies that I already didn't like. So my brain goes like, okay, so this guy gets me. I can identify with him because he thinks the exact thing that I'm thinking about. He also hates the movie that I hate. So in the future, my brain, it's all happening subconsciously. I'm not actively thinking about it. I give him the benefit of the doubt and I keep watching his movie reviews. And most of the movie reviews that I'm watching are not even the movies that I've watched, but I watch his reviews because obviously whatever he says is right. So obviously, I believe him. Star Trek, I've never watched Star Trek, but I watch his Star Trek reviews. And for a long time I hadn't watched Star Wars, and I watched his Star Wars reviews and just went along with it, believing whatever he said, until the day came when the movie Barbie releases. And by that time, I most of the time wasn't watching the movies that he was reviewing. But when Barbie released, I was like, okay, so at that time I also made my own YouTube channel and I was watching the movies and then reviewing them. And obviously I watched Barbie and I made my review and threw it out there because I loved that movie. That was my review. I think that Barbie handled politics really, really well. But then Critical Drinker makes his review and he calls it a woke abomination, basically a feminist propaganda. And I'm left baffled because obviously we both saw the same movie, so how can he have a wildly different review for the same movie that I watched? And obviously the movie that I watched I liked very much because the politics were handled very well. But then again, you would think that I would stop believing anything Critical Drinker says at that point. Well, it doesn't happen. It's all about fucking indoctrination. Like if you're part of an ideology or a cult, you don't immediately leave that. So obviously I've given this guy the benefit of the doubt for years now. And I think that, okay, so, things happen. Maybe his view this time is different from me. That's totally fine. People like different things. He didn't like the movie that I liked and I moved on with my life until one day somehow the algorithm throws out the Birdman's video and I start watching his videos. And he is absolutely tearing apart Critical Drinker's videos and calling him a grifter. And I'm like, what the hell is a grifter? And obviously I learned from watching his videos what that means. And I would go on to say that it was a bit eye-opening. I don't want to say that he definitely opened my eyes to a whole new world, but absolutely not. It was something that I was already feeling, because everything that I upload on my channel, I upload thinking that it is the absolute truth to the best of my ability, and it's true. Even though I wouldn't agree with most of the videos that I uploaded, like 2 years ago. But at the time when I was uploading them, I was like, yeah, I am right. This is like the objective truth. But apparently not, because again, I was living in an echo chamber and watching Birdman's videos and him dismantling whatever Critical Drinker was saying with facts. That blew my mind, because it felt like I was seeing a small sliver of the truth. And, Birdman opened up that sliver. An example of that happened very recently when I watched Critical Drinker's video on Rachel Zegler. He decided to make another video about it. Lord knows I've made so many videos about her, and this video is already long enough, so I don't want to talk about my regrets on that. So again, Critical Drinker makes a video on Rachel Zegler, and he calls her a woman who got into a position that she doesn't deserve. And he also made a point of showing her video where she says that, yeah, I took the role in Shazam Fury of the Gods because, paycheck, and I needed a job. And I was like, yeah, I mean, that feels like a very bad thing to say. You should, you're an actress, you're working for a movie business, and you should just say that you're grateful for the role. And obviously she doesn't say that, and Critical Drinker moves on with that. And then Birdman makes a video. He plays the full clip where Rachel Zegler does say that she needed a paycheck, but then she goes on to say that she is grateful for this opportunity, and it just dawned on me, like, yeah, like this Critical Drinker guy is absolutely trying to make a narrative where a narrative doesn't even exist. He's pulling things out of thin air. And I don't want to sit here and bash people. That's not me. I don't want to do that. But yeah, it does feel like knowing the truth and then actively deceiving your own audience. I feel like whatever I did in the past feels like I did it because I knew it to be the absolute truth, and I prided myself as a content creator that says whatever it wants to, because I never cared about people's feelings. Sometimes I made reviews of movies that I watched that other people absolutely hated, like The Eternals. I think The Eternals was a dumb movie, but it was still entertaining to watch. Same with Shang-Chi and a lot of the other movies like The Strange World by Disney. People called it woke LGBTQ disaster, but I was like, it's not a disaster of a movie. It's just a bad movie. It's not a bad movie because LGBTQ disaster and wokeness. It's just, not a great movie. It's just mediocre. So even back then, I was trying to be as realist as I could be, but I couldn't, because I was unknowingly living in an echo chamber. And I guess I will still try my best to make content where I do my due diligence and try to be as rational as possible. So in the future, whenever I make any content or movies, I will do my best not to bash people, especially, when it comes to the past. I was very against anti-woke, and now I'm realizing, like, yeah, like all the narratives against people like Brie Larson and Rachel Zegler, it was, cherry picked, it misled me, and I was misleading my audience because I wasn't doing any research. So I guess my bad. Well, that said, in the future, I will always try to be balanced. I will always try to do my research whenever a sensitive topic comes up. And yeah, let me know what you guys think about this whole situation. Today I didn't really have much to talk about, and I thought I should just sit down and rant and start talking about literally anything. So I thought, you know what, why not make this topic. So this video will probably get like 12 views, so like it if you can, and let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And as always, it's time for a goodbye.